वॉल्यूम 2 ऑफ द चैप्टर 3 फर्स्ट फ्लाइट। अब देखिए, वाई इज द सीगल अफ्रेड, या वाई वॉज द सीगल सिटिंग अलोन ऑन द लेज। अब वाई वॉज द सीगल सिटिंग है, इट वॉज सिटिंग अलोन, आप भी उसी टेंस में आंसर देंगे। हिज ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स, they had already learnt the art of flying. Now this seagull was afraid that his wings would not support him. He kept sitting alone, helplessly. अब एक और क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, how does he conquer his fear? वो अपने डर पे कैसे काबू पाता है? Now the young seagull, he was seized with fear. भय ने पूरा काबू कर लिया उस पे। Now the moment he attempted to flap his wings, he got afraid. But all of a sudden, the seagull forgot that he had never flown earlier, and automatically the wings open and he takes a successful flight. अब इसे जो बच्चे ये समझते हैं कि this language is tough for us, हमारे लिए मुश्किल है, he forgets about his past. All of a sudden his wings open, they flap and he learns how to fly. That's all. अब एक और एग्जाम्पल देता हूं आपको, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। How did the seagull feel when he saw his brothers and sisters flying in the air? अब देखिए, he felt a little envious when he realized that his brothers and sisters have already learnt. Although their wings were shorter as compared to the wings of this seagull. So he found quite helpless, or he found himself helpless, but the reason was he could not muster up the courage to fly, to take the first one. First one means the first flight. ठीक है? अब एक और क्वेश्चन है। क्वेश्चन ये हो सकता है, what had the young seagull seen all day long the day before? एक दिन पहले उसने पूरे दिन क्या क्या देखा? अब देखिए, the seagull watched his parents flying about, his brothers and sisters flying around. They were perfecting their flight, and they taught him, or this was the intention of the parents, to teach him how to fly. So this was what he did the day before. अगला क्वेश्चन क्या आता है? What did the whole family taunt him with? या how did they taunt him? प्रश्न एक ही है, प्रश्न से घबराना नहीं है, आपको केवल तत्व देखना है। Look at the crux of the question. अब क्वेश्चन का क्रक्स है, what did the whole family taunt him with? How did they taunt him? Why did they taunt him? Now ultimately the key answer is one. The young seagull's parents and brothers, in fact, they wanted the seagull to fly, to make him independent. The parents, they were encouraging, motivating, and even provoking. However, they taunted the young seagull about his cowardice. They were taunting the seagull of his cowardice. He couldn't muster up the courage. So they all wanted him that once he takes the first flight, the rest will be taken care of by nature. And so it happened. हुआ भी ऐसा ही. So this chapter indirectly gives you a message. And the message is, once you muster up the courage, the things fall into place. You need to take the first step, then circumstances, universal intelligence and all other things start supporting you as they supported the seagull. Now the next question is, how did the young seagull completely forget about its past? Yeah, what did the seagull forget? Simple answer. What did the seagull forget? The seagull forgot that it had never flown earlier. And this forgetfulness was a gift in disguise by nature. All of a sudden, the wings open, they flap, and he takes the flight quite successfully. Now, the sense of achievement within, the mirth, the happiness, delight, it takes over. And the seagull flies like a confident flyer, like a professional flyer, as if the seagull had been doing it for the last several years. Now the next question, why did he caw amusedly? Amusedly means it was a moment of amusement. A moment of amusement, why? Because it was a moment of achievement. This was the first flight, and the flight gave him immeasurable pleasure, immeasurable happiness. The limits of happiness were unknown. His happiness knew no bounds. अब ये एक phrase है, underline कर लें आप चाहे तो. His happiness knew no bounds. खुशी की कोई सीमा न रही. Now this is the phrase. These are those things that polish your language. जिन स्टूडेंट्स को ये लगता है कि वो याद नहीं रहेंगे तो आप लिखेंगे immeasurable, जिसको measure नहीं कर सकते. Doesn't make very big of difference. But those who are bigger achievers, those who want to score 95 plus, for them it is recommended to write. Now in the next coming volumes, we are going to tell you 25 to 40 or 45 proverbs, sayings, idioms that will add like a gem on the cake. Means when you garnish a dish, it becomes better, it is presentable. The evaluator, the examiner, they feel impressed that of course, yes, the student has done his best, her best to achieve, to make an impression. Now the next question is, why were the parents and his brothers and sister calling and beckoning to him shrilly? Shrilly means in a sharp sound. Screaming sound you can say. Screaming voice you can say. Now the answer is, they were excited at his success. They wanted him to keep flying. They wanted to pump in a lot of confidence. They wanted him to enjoy its first flight. Now, they were beckoning to him and calling shrilly as if it was a kind of congratulation to him. They were congratulating him. What happens when people in a stadium keep clapping and shouting? It means they want the person, the performer, the player to outperform, to keep performing. It is a kind of appraisal. They praise, they applaud. So the same happened with all the other members of the family of the seagull who supported them in their shrill cries, flying around, shouting, and it was all a language that the human ear may not understand, but the seagull enjoyed it. The seagull ultimately took the first flight, and the first flight was quite successful. It was one of the biggest achievement. So here I'll add another few questions. These questions will give you a clear view that most of them, they may seem a little different, but the crux of the answer is almost the same. So never ever let the fear of exam seize you. Take it in the same manner as the seagull took the first flight in its stride. So thank you very much.